Hi, Blake with BlvdHome, and today we're going to talk about laundry, washers and dryers, and the two most common problems that I see and things that you can check yourself to save yourself a service call or save yourself the hassle of waiting for a serviceman to come out to the home when you could be using it right away when it's something that you can do yourself. Before everything else, there is one thing that you need to do with any appliance, and this goes to all categories, so I'm going to give it to you first. If your appliance isn't working right, because everything has a computer in it now, I would say 98% of the appliances have computers in them. Just like your phone stops working, it stops texting, it stops receiving text. What do? You turn it off, you turn it back on, and see if it works. And most of the time it does. That is the same thing with most appliances nowadays. If it's not working properly, or if it's having some type of weird issue, best thing to do is either unplug the unit, let it sit for about 2 minutes, and plug it back in. If it's easier to get to the breaker box, just turn the breaker off to that appliance, let it sit for 2 minutes, turn it back on. When it powers up, see if it works right at that point. I'll tell you honestly, especially after lightning storms and other things going on in this area, that's usually what resolves the issues on most appliances. Do that first and you save yourself a lot of hassle. Now, we're gonna talk about laundry. Washers. Number one and number two complaint that I have on washing machines, washability complaints and it not draining. Things you can do for washability complaints. Now, usually if you have washability complaints, just make sure that the unit's getting enough water or you're not overloading the machine, because that's generally the biggest problem with washability. Make sure that if you got a glass lid like this, make sure you see the agitator moving. But most of the time, you're either got the wrong setting, so it's not filling up with enough water for the size of the load you have in there, or you got it way too full of clothing for the size or the capacity of the wash machine or the water level you have in there. If you're on a normal cycle, the normal cycle on most machines now is the eco cycle, so it's going to use the least amount of water possible. If you have a deep fill option on a top load machine, make sure that you're using that when you have any loads that are larger than halfway up the agitator. Make sure you definitely use the deep fill option. If not, you're going to have washability complaints with it. With a front load, it's different. You only make sure that you put your clothes in, pat them down, but the clothes come to about halfway, maybe about 3/4 the way up the drum at the most, and then at that point, the machine will be able to tumble the clothes and move the clothes to get them to clean. So, second one is not draining. With a top load machine, there's not much you can do to fix the not draining issue, but the biggest thing you can do for you is to make sure you check your pockets. I know you have like a ton of kids, you say they bring everything home from rocks to whatever they can pick up and they put in their pocket, nails, and then your husbands are just as bad, and talk to my wife, she'll tell you. You know, I come home with stuff in my pockets all the time and she's like, clean your pockets out. Well, I think it's kind of like Yahtzee when I open the lid. What do I find in there this time? Well, when you're playing Yahtzee, you're also playing Russian roulette, because you don't know if those items are gonna get down into the pump of the washing machine and cause it to stop working. Always make sure you check your pockets. That way you can avoid it on these. Now, front load machines, a lot of the front load machines, they have a clean out on the front. So if it's not draining or draining properly, just open up that little door in front, drain the water out with a little tube into a bucket, take the clean out and look at the clean out. Make sure that everything is taken out of the clean out. Pull all that stuff out and you find the long lost green army men that somehow made it in there. You're like, how did that get down in here? When you find that and you take it out and you reassemble it, put it back in, try it again, see if it drains again. If it does, you're good to go and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about calling a serviceman. If it doesn't, give us a call, let a serviceman come out there, take a look and see why it's not draining. Now in dryers, top two things. You have an element being burnt out or an element not working, or long dry times. Now, they're related, but that is the number one complaints we have on these. Now, both of them are related to the same thing. Generally, what causes elements to burn out is elements basically use air to go across them to keep the element cool, to take the heat away from it. Well, if the element gets too hot all the time, eventually it's going to break because it's getting way too hot. Now, that also leads you into long dry times, because long dry times also affect the element, because that's a factor of the air not be able to be pulled into the dryer and pushed to the outside of the dryer, and so we can get it to the outside of the home. Things that can cause that, to cause those two failures, could be that your filter inside the unit is clogged. Even though you say, I cleaned it every time, I wiped it out and I take the lid off every time, it could be clogged with the waxy buildup you get from fabric sheets and fabric softener. They basically coat the new ones and no water can go through it. So the easy way to know this for sure, take your lint filter out, clean the lint off it, stick it under some water at your sink, see if water will go through this. If you put a little bit of water on there and it's sitting on the surface and it's not going through it, well, it's clogged. Take a scrub brush with some soap and water, scrub both sides of it, dry it out. That way the unit has good air through the air filter. Again, that will allow the heat to move through the heating element so it doesn't burn out as quickly, and the dryer will dry faster because it can get the air through it and then push that wet, moist air to the outside of the home. The other big thing with long dry times is your venting. Make sure your venting from your dryer to your wall isn't kinked. If you have flexible venting, which a lot of people do, that flexible venting will, when you push it back there, will smash and not necessarily line up properly. So when you actually open it up, there's very little opening in there for it to breathe, because the piece is actually squished at an angle, so you can't get the air through it. Also, it could be your ductwork from the wall to the outside of the house. Now, if it goes up the wall, like a lot of the houses here do, the easiest thing you can do, we have some pictures attached here. You can look at some ductworks that I've taken pictures of. The easiest thing you do is take your camera, stick it in your ductwork, flip the camera around so it's facing like you're doing a selfie, stick it inside there, shine a flashlight up inside your ductwork and take a picture. If it looks like any of the pictures that you've seen here, then you have a clogged vent from there to the outside of your home. Make sure you call somebody that's qualified to get it cleaned out for you, get all that lint out of your ductwork, and then also check the outside of your home, because I've been to people's homes and their dryer, they got rid of their old dryer, they got a brand new dryer, and they called me within days saying, my new dryer, it does not dry. Give us a new dryer. So I went out there and took a look at it, and yes, the ductwork from the dryer to where, as far as you could see, was clean. So I walked outside the house and they had a catcher on the side of their vent, and basically it was completely clogged with a blanket of lint. So make sure you check the outside all the way to the end, along with the ductwork, to make sure it's clear. But that's the top two problems of these, and things that you can do to fix them. And if those don't fix the problem, give a servicer a call and have them come out and take a look at it for you. So I hope this video has been helpful about what to check for your laundry stuff, and the two top problems that I see that most of the time that you would save that money to not have me come out there to fix it for you, because it's something you can easily do yourself. So I hope this video has been helpful. We appreciate you stopping by. Please check out our other videos. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again real soon.